I want to thank you all for coming tonight. The weather's pretty bad, but I thank you for being here. I always like to start off my presentations by saying I am not the world's foremost authority on anything. Many people have been very generous to me and accolades, but in point of fact, I'm not an authority on anything. I am simply an ordinary man pursuing extraordinary knowledge.
So now, the oldest images that we have from antiquity and found on every continent is this image where 64 circles are overlapped. Or however long ago, someone had the clever idea of saying, you know what, why don't I draw straight lines where the circles overlap?
So I reached out to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he attacked that I had talked about Walter Russell and Victor Schauberger and John Keeley and Tesla as the people that I looked up to. He attacked them.
So back to Neil deGrasse Tyson and his critique of Tesla.
So he threw shit on he was like, well, Tesla stuff worked, but Tesla was never really respected and out there. And I guess he wanted me to support Bohr or Schringer or Feynman or any of those people. And I'm looking at the Feynman diagrams. I'm like, you made all these things up.
There's a bigger world out there than what you know. There are two kinds of facts. There's the kind of fact that you look up and the kind that you make up. And I have always understood the difference. And to ask the right questions is to be halfway to the right answer.
Back to Neil deGrasse. When he wrote his response to my paper, and he said, if you have any other questions, you're going to have to see somebody else, and he wouldn't take my calls anymore.
There are things going on out here in the world that the people who run this world from behind the scenes are many things, but stupid is not one of them.
And that's what the circles that we just saw being generated are literally how this image is created, by simply drawing 64 circles in this pattern.
Yep.
And I hope y'all are seeing how this is manifesting and how these symbols, and this is like a sand dollar almost.
Now, each one of these circles you have to see as a magnetic field. That's how magnetism behaves. Everything expands. But what they did 6,000 years ago, keep it playing, allow it to keep playing, is they began to average the space where the circles overlap. So that tetrahedron that we see, because we know that there are no straight lines, because all energy is expressed in motion, all motion expressed in waves, and all waves are curved. Therefore, it is impossible to create a straight line, because every action has the equal and opposite reaction, and the greater that reaction, the greater the resistance and the greater that curvature. This curvature is the equanimity of all the interactions within a particular system. It all balances out into these perfect spheres, which are magnetic fields around each other, which is a discharging aspect. And where these magnetic fields interact, this is where electricity begins. Where they overlap, they're forced to create spin. But 6,000 years ago, they said they're going to average the spin, and these toroidals happening, and they generated straight lines. And now you can clearly see that even the cube, where we get Pythagorean theorem from, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, is an average. It's an approximation. But most of our math is our algebra, our calculus. All of those things are generated through this circumstance, which also led into why 1 times 1 could not possibly equal 1, because what if you made each side of those lengths 1? Then you couldn't get the proper hypotenuse. So all of these problems arose from them creating straight lines where there were no straight lines. And this has been called, the greatest discovery, basically, in geometry and for mathematics. But
and that's the Platonic solids you're speaking about.
The Platonic solids are averages. Euclid went to Egypt and pulled these things and wrote them down, and everyone took credit from them. form, but they took credit for some falsehoods. What I was instructed to do was to take the same flower. So can we go to my app? This is the proton, the geometry of hydrogen itself. And we'll see that it has 8 poles. It has 4 contractive poles. And that's where it concaves in, and it has electricity seeking a higher pressure condition will cause a cavity, and magnetism, unable to maintain its electrical potential, ends up spinning off of the vortices.
So real quick, brother, when you say 4 bubbles, you're literally saying that there's a sphere here in this space, and this is just the negative space when 4 spheres are literally coming together. This is the space that's left in between them.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, just real quick. People are trying to understand when you say bubbles, you're literally talking about 4 spheres. And like you said, you can see this. I literally see the 4, I see 3 circles on the ground here. You got this circle here. I don't know if you can see my pointer. Circle here, a circle here, and a circle here. These are 3 of the bubbles, 3 of the spheres right there. And you put another one underneath it and you got your 4.
And that's what the flower of life was trying to leave and tell us, 10,000 years ago, by whomever advanced civilization told us that these would be the fundamentals, because everything expands as a sphere and contracts in geometric form. These contractions are the result of expanding waves that hit the edge of the universe and come back. And it's periodic and regular enough to where we have this structure that we call hydrogen, the proton.
And when you say periodic, that's the periodic part, right? It's just in intervals, predictable intervals.
Yes.
Nice. Should I go to the next one?
Yeah, go to the next. Now, this is what happens when 12 bubbles meet. And what this ties into is what we were saying under different motion and pressure conditions. You get a different crystallization. Here's another stable structure, but it still has 4 electrical potentials that hasn't been accounted for in the Huntian. Still has 4 unaccounted for. The points, that's the unaccounted electrical potential. And it has 4 of them. So this thing still is attracting things, but it's a stable structure.
So Terrance, somebody who's a mathematician, a physicist, electrical engineer, chemical engineer, seeing this, their mind should be getting blown right now, right?
Yeah, or they should get turned on. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to war. So I challenge any chemist, any physicist, any astrophysicist, any cosmologist, any biologist, anyone within the fields of science to come and challenge me. And these are proofs. This isn't theories anymore. Theories are written out and need to be proven. These are geometric proofs. These are
this is proof of concept right here.
And if you come and show me a better model of the universal constant of
yeah, see, we lost him. He something happened with the connection on that end, but I'm sure he'll be right back in. When you see that what this brother is putting forward, for all my scientists out here that are watching, and people who have friends that are scientists, that are chemists, that are physicists, that are engineers, share this video with them. Share the concepts that Brother Terrance is putting forward, and come in good faith. Come not to battle. Come, don't come to try to trick and to deceive and all that type of stuff. Leave all of that out. Do it for the sake of science. Do it for the sake of us being able to, explore this truth for what it is, right? Because that's what's necessary. We need to continue to build forward. We need to continue to, to correct things that have been incorrect for so long. And it can only benefit everybody. The only thing that's going to be injured potentially is the ego that tries to stand in the face of truth and maintain falsehood and deception.
People expressing their passionate views towards truth. I like that. I appreciate that.
It's
fine. You need to throw insults in order to make your point, but you still, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to facts. And see, with these, I didn't have to do any renormalization. I didn't have to erase or discontinue or try and subtract out inconvenient values that showed up. I didn't have to trim any parts of this out to put these together like they have done with their math.
You're not coming to defend anything. You're coming to present it. And they sit back and say, dang, I never thought about it like that. I said, nope, you're coming to present the work that you have done. You're not defending anything. You're presenting it. And that's going to keep you open, and it's going to keep your committee open. So that way it facilitates the conversation and the communication, and it allows us to get to that moment of truth quicker.
Because they have bashed my name so much, it is necessary to defend it. So now I'm saying there's consequences. So if you're going to come up against my name and come up against these things, then let's do it on a public forum. Yes. And you debate your position and I'll debate my position, and we'll let the public decide. And yes, if you like it that way, we can go and have a private conversation, because I don't want to destroy anybody's faith or humiliate someone in front of others. But right, if you'd like to have a private conversation, we can do it private. But if you're going to make public statements, then we're going to have this on a public forum. But I got peace.